It gets loose. Well, that's rear-wheel drive for you, but it wasn't. Welcome to Drive Culture. I'm Jonathan Rivers, and today we have the 2023 BMW M2. And I'm going to tell you why this is one of the best sport coupes on the market today. So we'll go over the exterior, the interior, the powertrain, and of course, take it for a drive. So if this is content you're after, or you're new to the channel, please be sure to click that bell to subscribe to come back for more. And with that, let's get after it. So let's get right into it here. This car is a serious performance machine. Now, this is the second generation of the BMW M2, and they call this the G87 for all you Beamer geeks out there, right? Now, the previous version was called the F87, and instantly, I know the comments are already going down, or you guys are already typing to say, we like that one better. Let us know down in the comments below. Did you like the F87? Are you into this new G87? So honestly, I haven't driven it yet. So today, right now, is gonna be my first time to drive it. I'll tell you what, just from the stats of performance alone, this thing seems like it's gonna be an absolute monster. There was a huge increase in performance and pricing compared to that first generation M2. And with the car that we have here, it's in a sapphire black metallic. So honestly, guys, I think, yeah, there was some controversy over the new styling, but I think in black and with the way that this particular car is optioned, I actually think it looks really good. So let us know down in the comments below what you guys think. But right off the bat, this thing is menacing. It really is. So, it has this very aggressive hood bulge, right? We're gonna pop it up later so you can see the beast that lies underneath. But, you got this, traditional BMW logo here. Down below, you got the M2 badging, very, very classy. And again, I think the grille design's pretty nice. There's huge openings down below for that front mount intercooler. And as I peek back, it's actually painted black. So kudos to BMW. I know sometimes manufacturers won't paint it, but I think that really helps the overall styling. As I look into the side intakes here, there's obviously some radiators hiding behind there as well. Looks like it's got front parking sensors. Now this particular car, let's talk about its pricing, right? So now you can get this car for $62,200 as a starting MSRP. But this particular car is loaded to the gills and it is $75,200. So it's literally $13,000 in options. And most of that lies in what they call the carbon package. And we'll go into those details here in a sec. But it also has these adaptive full LED headlights, right? So they can adjust, as you're driving, they kind of go with you over the turns. And again, they look pretty sweet. So very, very nice there. It has parking sensors up front, so you don't have to tear up your front end. But let's make our way to the side of the vehicle because this car has a serious wheel and tire package. So it's a staggered setup, right? A lot of the vehicles we covered so far have all been a square setup, but let's look at what we got here. So on the front, you're actually working with 19-inch wheels. If I remember, they were 19 by 9.5, so super wide wheels. And they're made it to 275/35 ZR19 tires. So performance Pirelli tires here, guys. I mean, I can't wait to drive this thing. The wheels are in a gloss black, looks really nice. And behind it, you're gonna see that M Performance braking package, right? So huge. I mean, this is 6 piston calipers up front, painted in red. It's got the M logo there, so that looks really great. And you can see even from the rotors, not only are they vented, but they're cross drilled as well. And they're huge. They're like over 15 inches in size. So literally the size of a pizza, guys. These are huge brakes, okay? So they're not carbon ceramic, but quite frankly, I don't think they need to be, right? And again, as we go ahead and do the drive, we'll see really how good they stop. But as we make our way along the side of the vehicle, again, like in typical M fashion, it has this extra little winglet on the side mirror. That's been a classic thing for the M series of cars. But it's funny because, maybe it was the same way with the F87, but with this G87, it's kind of like what the M3 used to be. Obviously now there's the M3 and the M4, but I feel from like a size and like styling, these cars have gotten so big. So for me, this kind of is like the M3 that I always wanted growing up, right? It's gotten that big in size, even though it's the M2. In the rear, let's talk about the wheels and tires here. So we had 19s up front, we got 20s in the back, and these are 20 by 10.5, so even wider wheels. And not only that, even wider tires. So 285 30 ZR20. So like I said from the get-go, this is a crazy wheel and tire package. You can see in the back as well, they're cross-drilled, vented rotors. It looks like there's a 2-piston caliper right there, but again, they have all the braking performance up front. So definitely not gonna miss out there. Let's work our way to the rear of the vehicle where, again, I think from a styling perspective, this is where some of the controversy was. You know, they have these kind of very angular inlets into the rear bumper where, you know, F87 M2 was a little bit more rounded out, a little bit more smooth. So again, let us know down in the comments below which one do you guys like. But again, right off the bat, I see here, this thing has an awesome carbon fiber wing. And again, that's a part of this carbon package. So I'm just gonna tell you right here, it's $9,900 for the carbon package. And so what it includes is this wing on the back, this very nice, you know, deck lid spoiler. It also includes the carbon fiber roof, right? So there's no sunroof here, right? You're going straight performance. But what it also includes are some carbon fiber bucket seats, which we'll get to here in a second on the interior. And the last thing, which kind of surprised me, they call it out as the M driver's package, right? So what that does is that actually raises the governed top speed. So it's normally 155, like most, you know, German or European cars. It raises it to 177. I don't think I'm gonna get to try that out today, but it's pretty cool that it has that included in that package. So it's a lot of money. Tell us if you guys would opt for that. But man, all these carbon accents look really good. So BMW badging, M2 badging. You know, the tail lights on this generation, they kind of go up and curve over, but they are full LED, and I'm sure at night they look really good. You got a, you know, of course, rear view camera, parking sensors. But one of the other things that I like, and this was an option too, is you got these kind of chrome, dark chrome exhaust finishers, and they're quad exhaust, right? That's always a signature M element, right? No matter which series M you get. But actually, again, as I stand back here and look at the car, it looks pretty darn good, guys, honestly. I actually thought on the F87, the front looked really good, and I thought the rear was a little weak. I think it's kind of reversed for this generation for me. I think like the front's a little weak, the rear's really strong. So again, let us know what you guys think. But I think that covers everything on the exterior. So let's go ahead and hop inside to talk about the interior. All right, guys, let's look inside the BMW M2. And as I mentioned earlier, you have that carbon package, almost $10,000, right? But one of the biggest things are these carbon fiber bucket seats, and they look incredible. I'm not kidding you. I think these might be some of the best seats, bar none. Like even up through supercars, like these seats look incredible. And not only are they like full racing buckets, but they're power too. So, hey, kudos BMW, you guys knocked it out of the park with these. I'm sure it's gonna be a little challenging getting in and out. So let's go ahead and plop inside and we'll talk about the rest of the interior. All right, guys, now we're inside the BMW M2, and it is a very, very nice place to be. There's just so many things to talk about. So bear with me as we kind of go through piece by piece. Because, you know, I think first and foremost, again, now I'm in these bucket seats. And yes, it was kind of challenging to get in. I kind of had to, like, you know, fall into the chair. But now that I'm in. Like, I'm not moving. My lower legs are locked in. My shoulders are locked in. If you guys haven't watched our video of the Porsche 718 Cayman GT4, be sure to watch that video too. That car also had some awesome bucket seats inside, but these are a much different look and feel to what was in that Porsche. But as I look inside the interior, man, the materials in here are classic BMW, top of the line stuff here, right? And not just because it's the M2, right? Like I said, this car has that carbon package, so it's literally everywhere. It's all along the dash of the vehicle, all along the center console. It's even on the steering wheel as well. So clearly it's a lot of money, right? Like I said, it's almost 10 grand, but you're getting a lot for your money here. I don't feel like it's not worth it at all. In fact, I'd probably opt for it. It just kind of makes this car look amazing. The steering wheel, as I hold it in kind of typical BMW fashion, it's nice and chunky, right? Being an M series. And it's interesting what they did here. Like they basically put like a suede Alcantara surface on the sides, and then the top and bottom are like a traditional leather. And then it even has this nice center marker in this awesome baby blue. You get the typical M series, blue and red, stitching on it all throughout inside. That's on the steering wheel. The shifter here, we'll talk about that in a second. But BMW has gotten really good about like integrating that like kind of that baby blue, that dark blue and red kind of motif that they've put in the interior. So they've even like added in into the door linings as well, and as well as these seats, right? Like the seats have just enough accents, just enough colors to make them look really, really special. Now, one of the things that I want to talk to before I get into some of the switchgear here are the screens. Now, this really feels like the new modern BMW, right? Where it's basically this huge screen. It looks like you have this widescreen TV basically in front of you. And so what they do is they have a 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster right in front of you. It's completely configurable. It's ultra high res, looks amazing, guys. And then right next to that, they have a massive 14.9-inch color touchscreen. And they kind of put it all in one housing, so it gives the effect that it's all one screen. But if you look closely, you'll see that it's actually two different screens. But hey, I think the integration's great. This is now, I want to, if I'm wrong, I'm going to put it down below, but I want to say this is iDrive version 8 that they're on now. So it's the latest version of their infotainment system. It's super fast, super responsive. And again, the graphics, everything's high res. There's so many settings though, and so many apps that it is a little, overwhelming, to be honest. I'm sure if I owned this car, or was lucky enough to own it, that I would get used to it and figure out where everything is. But for the purpose of today's drive, I'm just gonna kind of guess my way through this. So as we make our way down to the center here, you got some cup holders hidden away. You got a USB port, maybe a place to store your phone. Behind that, this car comes standard with a 6-speed manual transmission, and God bless the owner for having that, right? You can actually opt and get an 8-speed automatic. And again, there's going to be people that say, oh, it's faster and more fuel efficient, whatever else. But come on, this is an M performance car, so yeah, save the manuals. Can't wait to roll through the gears. And there's all kinds of controls here. You got like your parking sensors, the idle stop, even the engine start-stop button is this awesome red. It's right down here. You've got a variety of drive modes. BMW always gives you so many drive modes that, again, I'm not gonna be able to play with everything today, but we'll try them out. Parking, brake, and then this is really that iDrive controller. And so it's kind of cool because it's like a jog dial, so you can kind of scroll through everything, but you can also like move it forward and back and click through. And I believe at some level there's some kind of like a touch function of that as well. So again, lots of connectivity and function. A little bit of a storage area here. You do have a USB-C port. And again, a little bit of space back there. Man, this little piece right here is awesome. We'll capture that on B-roll as well. But it says M Performance, looks amazing. Inside, again, like I said, there's a really, really nice optional Harman Kardon sound system. 14 speakers inside. So again, their stuff is always good in BMW, so can't wait to maybe blast to some tunes. But other than that, again, like I said, there's no sunroof because it does have the carbon fiber roof as part of that package, but this is a really, really nice place to be. The last thing I'm gonna comment is back to the steering wheel. We'll talk a little bit more about this during the drive, but there's these crazy like red little buttons up here at the top, and one says M1. My understanding is essentially that's going to put this in a very like aggressive setting for not only the suspension, but for the exhaust. So I'm going to push that for sure. The other one is kind of customizable by the driver. And my understanding is this owner actually has this one set where you turn all the traction control off and just let this thing loose. So I may not press that one, but there's a heated steering wheel and all your infotainment controls here as well. So I think that pretty much covers the interior on a high level, but I'm gonna even see if I can squeeze into the back seat here. So let's go ahead and see how much space we got. All right, so I found a way to squeeze into the back seat of this M2. But all things considered, the seat in front of me is my driving position. I left it there on purpose. And not just because there's big holes in the seat, I actually have a little bit of knee room back here. I mean, it's a little claustrophobic, right? Being a coupe and having like the glass very close to you. But as far as space, like there's a nice ledge here. It's actually made of really nice material. It looks like, I don't know if I can pull this down. Well, that's just a pass-through to get into the trunk. So there's really no armrest. That's maybe something I would like. But there is a big space here. You could put like an iPhone here. There's vents back here. Actual controls for the HVAC too, which is nice. No kind of connectivity. Again, I guess maybe people aren't going to be charging their devices back here. But again, as far as like space, like my head is, I don't know, I got another inch or two up to the roof line. It's a good hip point. Look, if you needed to take 4 people in this car, you could. You could, you know, do a short run. You could go out for a little dinner date with some friends or whatever else. You could get that, but obviously you're not going to do any kind of long road trips in this thing. So surprised with how much space is back here. And again, just as you're looking at this, you know, a beautiful carbon bucket seat in front of you, it's really not a bad place to be. So with that, let's go ahead and see how much cargo space this car has. All right, we have the trunk popped on the BMW M2, and inside it's got 13.8 cubic feet of space. So pretty good size. Like, I'm guessing you can fit maybe 2 large suitcases, or, you know, maybe 3 to 4 kind of mid-size, you know, stacked along each other. It's a pretty good space. Doesn't look like there's any way to get below that area there. If you look at the seats, it's kind of a 40-20-40 rear seat folding setup there. It's not a traditional kind of 60-40 setup. So we can show you what that looks like. But again, you know, the fact that it's a coupe, a sport coupe, right? You know, it may not be your daily, or even if it is, I'm sure you can fit enough stuff in here for your weekend getaway. So with that, let's go ahead and finally talk about this powertrain. All right, we have the hood popped on the BMW M2. And as soon as you look inside the engine bay, you see that they are not messing around here, right? You got the M badging. It says BMW M Power, right? Because this thing has some serious power numbers, guys. So let's talk about it. It's BMW's twin turbocharged 3-liter inline 6. It makes, it's crazy, 453 horsepower and 406 foot-pounds of torque. Now, to put that into perspective, that's the same engine that's in the M3 and M4. They just squeezed it into the little M2. Now, to be fair, it's actually down on horsepower compared to the M3 and M4. It's actually 20 fewer horsepower than either of those variants. They're at 473, which is just crazy, right? But that's still a ton of power. And like I showed you inside, it's made it exclusively to a 6-speed manual transmission, although there is an 8-speed automatic available, but clearly this owner made the right choice and got the manual transmission. All BMW M2s are also rear-wheel drive, right? So I'm sure this thing's gonna be a hoot to drive. Can't wait to get behind the wheel. Also, if you look up close, there's some really intensive bracing. You know, strut tower, going up here to the front of it. You know, the whole engine bay just screams performance, but there's no better way to prove that out than to get behind the wheel. So let's go ahead and hop inside. All right, guys, here we are inside the BMW M2, and I can't wait to take this thing for a drive. So first thing first, it's hot outside, so I'm gonna go ahead and start it up. So clutch in, engine start button. Sounds really good. Sounds really good. So like I talked about in the interior, just the use of materials, these bucket seats, everything really makes this feel like a race car, kind of. I mean, we'll see how it drives here. Go ahead and grab the seat belt. And a nice thing about the seat belts is it has this, you know, blue and red stitching. Again, those M colors that BMW does all over the place. So the fact that they have that on the seat belts is actually a really, really nice touch as well. So I was told, you know, the car is gonna like start in a comfort drive mode setting, and then as we're driving along, we'll obviously change it. like I talked about in the interior, there's these two little red buttons right here on the steering wheel. So the one on the left says M1. That basically puts it in its sports setting, not only for the suspension, but the exhaust. I heard it sounds really good, so we'll do that. The other one is kind of like a full traction control defeat. It's not my car, so I'm not going to press that button. But yeah, ready to go ahead and take things off. I haven't driven this yet, so it's nice. There's a gear indicator on the digital instrument cluster, so that's always a nice feature to have, because you want to be able to, you know, see what gear you're in. But I can already tell you, as I just took off, clutch engagement was really good. Shifting gears easy. Again, big 2 in there to let you know you're in second gear. So steering, man, wow, it's very, very direct, and it actually feels light, but in a good way, you know, just kind of getting through this parking lot. One of the things that I also have to call out is this particular BMW M2 actually does have a modified suspension. So it has a full coilover suspension setup on here. So, you know, it's not standard, so I won't get too much into the overall suspension and how it feels, but I'll let you know specifically for this car how these coilovers make it feel. As you probably just saw from the exterior, it looks like a really good setup. I mean, it's lowered down pretty good, guys. It kind of sits right over the tires, so looks awesome, but we'll see how it does as far as driving. So really excited to take this thing up. This is a really good driving road we're gonna go up here, so we'll kind of give my thoughts and you know, see how this thing performs. But yeah, just at first glance, yeah, I can already tell this thing's gonna be a beast. So and again, we talked about this in the interior. The digital instrument cluster that's right in front of you is really, really good. There's it takes a little bit to getting used to, because you got like your speed off to the left, you got your RPMs off to the right, and they're kind of like these like 3D gauges that like grow with the speed and the RPMs, but they at least look cool, so I'll give you that. So here we go, kind of get into it a little bit. Okay, first glance, already at 50 miles an hour. So yeah, this thing, okay, it's fast, that's for sure. I mean, not that I doubted that, but yeah, it didn't take much at all to get up there. And then yeah, the manual is really good. Now, it definitely feels, you know, kind of like typical BMW. So it is, you know, I don't want to say rubbery feel, right? But it does feel different than something like a Honda and Acura manual, or even that Porsche manual that we had on the GT4. Doesn't feel bad, so don't mistake my comments there. But it definitely has kind of a different feel than some of the other manuals out there. But hey, I'm just so happy that they at least offer it still. So again, kudos to BMW, you know, especially kind of making it the standard de facto transmission with the car. So already, yeah, as I'm driving, despite having that coilover suspension setup, again, I was a little worried it would be maybe too stiff or too harsh. Now, again, I'm on a really smooth road surface, so that's one thing, but man, this thing rides really good. Like, I mean, it's super smooth. Again, we're gonna go ahead and change the drive mode here in a second, but it rides really smooth, and the steering is ultra direct. I mean, you only have to put just a little bit of input to turn. It's very direct. So I got a little bit of open space. I'm still gonna leave it in this mode, and then I'll try the sport mode. So I'm gonna downshift, rev match. Actually, it was just me heel and toe, but it's very easy to do. So yeah, it's very good. Yeah, I was just playing with the gears there. It's really good. So I'm in second gear. Let's go ahead and give it a quick pull. So oh man, this thing rips, man. I don't want to say what speed I got up to there, but I'm in third gear, and man, this car moves. Holy moly, this car is fast, guys. Wow, it is crazy. So let me man, having way too much fun here. Let me go ahead and hit this M1 button, right? Like I was told, that's supposed to spice things up here. So let me go ahead and push it. So yeah, it gave me a little M1 in the digital instrument cluster. Oh yeah, it definitely has like a different burble to it. And then if I go back, oh man, that's second gear. Hopefully this is all coming through on the camera. With that, let me go ahead and do one blast here. Here we go, right? So oh man, this thing sounds awesome. It handles awesome, and it is fast. Wow. So one more pull. really good, guys. Which I always say, like, you know, you can go fast in any car, right? Like, at the end of the day, having a fast car is one thing, but if you don't have that confidence, right? If you don't feel like you're gonna have the confidence to turn in, you're not gonna have the confidence to stop, I mean, that becomes an issue, right? So the fact that the brakes are as good as they are, and they're not carbon ceramic, right? I think people say that's the de facto, you have to have that, but you know, they're vented, they're cross drilled, and really good brake pedal feel too, right? You know, sometimes they're a little too sensitive, it kind of like thrusts you forward in the seat. I didn't get any of that, so I'm gonna switch back down to the third. Oh, come on, might as well go back in a second. I got a little bit more space here, so here we go, one other blast. So here we go. Some of the publications out there have clocked 0 to 60, even with the manual, in under 4 seconds. I believe them. I believe them all day long. Apparently, the quarter mile is like a hair over 12 seconds, so again, really fast for a street car. I believe it, man. Holy moly. The torque, right? The torque is insane, right? So 406 pound-feet of torque. I want to say it was around 2650 was the RPM where it kicked in, you know, full power. But it feels like it kicks in before that. I mean, there is no shortage of power here, and it's just fun. And what's awesome is this like sound that you get when you shift through the gears. Again, hopefully this is all coming through in the camera, but it sounds good, which is ultra important. It goes good, and yeah, I'm just gonna keep doing this. So here we go, second gear pull, one more time. The thrust back into the seats, and then that like kick from the exhaust. Holy moly, I'm already to the car in front of me, but again, just a quick stab at the brakes here. Oh man, yeah, I mean, that's awesome. And look, this is my first time driving this, guys, and I'm, you know, I'm over here heeling and towing like I'm, you know, Ayrton Senna in the NSX. Like, this is, and that speaks a lot. That speaks a lot for how good this car is. So, wow, BMW M2, no joke, that's for sure. So, you know, let us know down in the comments below, guys. You know, this is our first BMW we've had on the channel, and we went all in, right, going straight for something like the M2. So let us know if there's other, you know, BMW cars you want to see on the channel, other M cars out there. We're happy to bring it to you. And with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up this video. All right, guys, that's a wrap. What did you think of the 2023 BMW M2? Obviously, you saw I was having way too much fun during the drive. I mean, this thing is just crazy fast. It really is. And you know, not that I'm here to compare it against other cars we put on the channel, but it's just so fast, man. The torque, right? You're riding this huge wave of torque. The turbos kick in, and then you look down and you're doing some serious speed there. So this car's not only super fast, but quite frankly, again, on the inside, you've got every gizmo under the sun. You know, I might have to come back and film just an entire iDrive demo because there's so much content in there. It's got all the features, the wireless CarPlay, Android Auto, you know, great Navi, great stereo. Again, as you might expect, because this car is not cheap. Like I said, this one here with all the options was over 75 grand. So it's not cheap, but it's kind of worth it, guys, for, again, the amount of performance, design, and features and technologies you get. I'm sold. I really am. So let us know down in the comments, do you want to see other M cars on this channel? Do you want to see other Beamers? Or again, what other cars do you want to see? Let us know down in the comments below. Again, if you've already subscribed and you've been following us, thank you so much. But if you're new to the channel, please be sure to click that bell to subscribe to come back for more. And we'll see you at the next episode.